What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Monday, July 17th, 2017. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the pure one, Tim Gettys.
Let Tim host.
Making your return to this very show, Kind of Funny Games Daily.
Feels like it's been forever.
It does. We had the week off because RTX. Then last week was all Danny all the time.
Oh, it was the RTX week that's throwing me.
This is our first week of Kind of Funny Games Daily. That'll be like the gods originally planned it.
Yeah.
Where the idea usually, and it'll change all the time, obviously, but you on Mondays, Andrea, Danny, Danny is the idea for Kind of Funny Games Daily. But Danny was off in Europe doing his thing. Andrea was over in Italy doing her thing. It's been confusing trying to keep it all straight. But last week, you couldn't do any Kind of Funny Games Daily.
I could not.
Because you were working really hard on editing Kind of Funny Live 3.
Yes, I was. It is now premiering on Sunday. This Sunday, everybody can watch Kind of Funny Live 3. I'm very excited.
All day, a day-long stream, 11 to 5 p.m. over on twitch.tv. So it's Kind of Funny Games
we'll be giving away games all day.
Right.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Doing the dumb challenges and things, playing games, having fun.
And then at 5 p.m. Pacific time, it will be the world premiere stream of Kind of Funny Live 3.
Then, of course, that's open only to Patreon people. Patreon people then have a week of access with Kind of Funny Live 3. Then Monday, July 31st, available for everyone for free. YouTube. You can go watch Tim's awesome trailer right now on Twitter or youtube.com/kindoffunny. Also worth pointing out here in the housekeeping section, of course, Comic-Con is this week. Thursday, I will be there hosting 2 panels, 11:45. You can come see me and David Tennant. On the Call of Duty, World War II panel. You can see that at 11:45, like I said. Then right after that is Marvel Games, where we'll talk about all the new Marvel game stuff at 1 o'clock with Bill Roseman and stuff like that.
That is exciting.
People. A lot of crazy things happening. A lot of things I can't talk about, so rather than screwed up, I'll tell you that this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every day on a multitude of options, we jump into the nerdy news you need to know about video games, dive in, get deep, get our hands nice and dirty. If you want to watch live, you can watch it as we record it over on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We don't look at the chat, however, because we're trying to make a polished podcast, but if we screw something up, you keep us honest by going to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. Tell us the facts we screwed up. No editorializing. Trevor Starkey's got the right idea. You can also pick it up on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or podcast services around the globe. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how you consume this show, thank you. And it would mean a lot to us if you went to the other ones and rated, subscribed, shared, did all that business there to help other people find the show. But Tim, for now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. That was such a soft one. Kevin's giving me a soft one. Kevin likes to keep it on the toes. Yeah. Never the same.
Gotta switch it up.
I understand. Only 2 items on the Roper Report. And one you'll see is just huge. So that's why we're going to be different. It pertains to your interests.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3 has a release date of 2018 now.
It has a release year, yes.
And a Toy Story World. This, of course, came at D23 this weekend. All the nerdy stuff got there. What did you think? What was your reaction?
So this came from the Marvel Games panel at D23. I watched it live. I was very excited. It was one of those things I was editing Kind of Funny Live 3, and I was like, I'm just going to have this up on the side, and then I had to stop. It was just like, they totally won me over. They showed some Battlefront 2 stuff, a little like vidoc on that, on like the behind the scenes of working on it. Janina was there. That was fun. And then they did Spider-Man presentation.
Some new concept art showed the Kingpin. That was cool.
The Kingpin was in it, as well as Peter Parker's room. You can kind of get an idea of the type of person he is.
When looking at the room screenshot, I was like, because they're talking about he's 23, he's at the athlete at the time, and his room looks like a high schooler dork room. Like it's like got junk everywhere, all this stuff.
I like that because like that to me, that shows that he has more important things to do than clean his room. You know what I mean? He's Spider-Man. He's out there. Yeah, 23. He's at his prime. He's getting some of that sweet nasty out there. You know what I mean? He's out. He's doing his thing.
Getting a piece of Strange as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they showed a whole bunch of Marvel VR stuff and Star Wars VR, or augmented reality.
I do talk about the Marvel VR stuff later up.
Okay. But the thing was, Kingdom Hearts, the hype was palpable. Like it was crazy.
It was time
to see the chat where the moment the panel started, everyone's just like, stop talking about anything. Kingdom Hearts. Anytime Kingdom Hearts was named, the crowd went crazy.
Sure.
And it was just like, whoa. Like the hype
You don't
is
get that
real
reaction
on
all the
this.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually you Kingdom Hearts nerds, they're all closeted up.
Well, about that.
You got Alexa over here writing a book.
Yeah.
You bringing her and Dornbush in here. I leave a game cast for one episode. It's a nerd parade
It was
over here.
definitely a nerd parade.
Yeah.
No, but it was really exciting. I mean, we haven't seen new stuff from Kingdom Hearts 3 in a while besides the E3 trailer that came out last month. And that was exciting to see, but it was a little bit just more of what we already had. A new world's a big deal. We had the Big Hero 6 world announced. We know that Hercules is in there, and we got Tangled back when the first debut trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3 happened.
Because at that point, Tangled brand new movie.
No, it wasn't. It was
And
still.
I'm making fun of how
But
long this
even
has
then,
been
though,
going
it was a couple years.
Where it's been 12 years since Kingdom Hearts 2.
Years old. But yes, the Toy Story is finally happening. People have been wanting a Pixar world for a long time. Obviously, Toy Story is very important to a lot of people, even if you're not a hardcore Disney fan.
Sure.
And we've finally done it. We finally have a game that looks like Toy Story did. You know, like that was always the joke.
It looks like a Pixar movie because it is a Pixar world.
Yeah, it's crazy though. It looks better than Toy Story 1.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. If I'm being honest, like looking at the footage, like there was a lot I liked, a lot that I didn't like.
Wow, what didn't you like?
Well, there's something about it, and I went into this a lot on the Kingdom Hearts thing, where it's just like Kingdom Hearts on the Kingdom Hearts Gamescast. I just feel like they're not growing up with me the way I want them to. And I get that is a me problem, but it just feels like they're doubling down on the aspects I don't like about the series more than the things I do like. Having said that, they addressed one of my criticisms with the whole franchise, where every time they go to a Disney world, they just do the Disney story. And it's like, we already know what happens. I like that with Toy Story right off the bat. They're like, it's a totally new thing. It's not following Toy Story 1 or 2 or 3. It is its own story. It seems like it's taking place after 2. I like that they immediately leave the room and are running around. I'm like, this world looks awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of hinting at a bit more open areas for Kingdom Hearts, which is pretty new because it's been fairly linear in the previous entries. But I can't believe we have a date.
Yeah.
I think that is probably the most important news to come out of this event, because now we can start working towards the inevitable delays. Like, because I feel like before, when there was no date associated with it, it was always just like, when is this happening?
Yeah.
At least now it's like, okay, cool. There's an idea of when they're trying to get it done, and who knows? Maybe it will. It looks pretty finished, but
they're just showing you the best part.
Exactly. Vertical slice.
As I said, Tim, this is a big topic for the show, right? I mean, it's a big Roper report, number one, because so many people wrote in with different things. There's so many articles with Nomura with different things. So I want to start taking you through some bullet points. I want to start before we get away from the Toy Story world. Our friend and yours, Hunter Reed, wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, to be part of Games Daily, and says, "Hey guys, on Saturday it was announced that Kingdom Hearts 3 will be released in 2018 with Toy Story as a possible world. Not possible, it is. Do you think this will attract more people to the game? Do you think it will release in the holiday season, or will it be delayed, as Jason Schreier says? Thanks, yours, Hunter." I only saw the Jason Schreier joke tweet. I didn't see him actually coming out guns and blazing.
No. It was just a joke.
You saw the joke tweet?
Yeah.
He wrote,
so
if you
good.
didn't, it was a screenshot of their CMS, and he wrote Kingdom Hearts delayed till 2019. He was like, just tweet it. We'll get ahead of and work or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think is Toy Story going to bring more people to Kingdom Hearts?
Yes.
Really?
Oh yeah, I do. I think that there's very few franchises that would convince people that aren't interested into potentially being interested. I think Toy Story is an easy sell to parents.
Yeah.
Toy Story is a franchise that, again, people grew up with and is still happening. Toy Story 4 is coming out. Toy Story shorts are existing and are before a bunch of Pixar movies. Toy Story is a phenomenon, and I think that is one of the few things that can get people in, and I think that it will.
The question I have then is, do you not worry? I would say no. I mean, it's going to get some new people in, probably, but isn't Kingdom Hearts so daunting? Like, it's such a, hey, here, it's number 3. There's been a million 2.5s and 2.8s and births by sleeps. And no, even you, who's a fan, you were like, I don't really know the story anymore. Alexa comes in, explains it all. You're like, I didn't.
I mean, you're right. It's an issue. And I got into this a lot in the Gamescast, where it's like, I wish that Kingdom Hearts 3 was essentially a reboot and was a modernized
Here we go, from
jump
the
on
ground
point,
floor.
because I think that it's important and they're going to lose a lot of people. I also don't think they give a fuck. This is traditional Square that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like this is them through and through, a very Japanese company doing very Japanese things.
In a very Japanese game.
They have like very, very Japanese, but at the same time, is it though? Like when you're looking at all these properties like Disney, that is American. You know?
Sure, I agree with you, but like that was my thing. I'm like, oh, holy shit, I can't wait to see this. And I started the trailer on YouTube, and I'm like, wow, is this cut like it's a super Japanese game? And then of course we get there and Woody opens his mouth and it's just the Japanese voice actor. I was like, oh man, this isn't where I wanted to. This is the first impression I would have put out.
But to me, it's even the way that it's written. It's like, yeah, it is super Japanese.
And like the words are slowly going by.
The trailer was bad.
I wasn't even paying attention. I was like, oh wait, these are what are they trying to say right now?
And then eventually they showed what the words said, and it was like just a bunch of fucking words thrown together. Whatever. But yeah, that's what Kingdom Hearts is. And if you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah.
You know, and at this point, like they've been very consistent on what those games are and who they're marketing towards. I just feel like with every step, they're making their market smaller and smaller.
I agree.
Having said that, these games sell ridiculously well. Me and Dornbush were talking about how Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5, 2.5 Remix is one of the best selling games of the year. And
I didn't know that.
Like that's really crazy to think about because I would be like, oh shit, like.
For me, that's the thing. Like for me with Kingdom Hearts, it was always that idea of, okay, I know people like them, but for me, they were always like, if I'm thinking about like Square, it's like, well, Final Fantasy's up here, and that's what everybody cares about. And then like you can even get Personas mixed in, not from Square, but I'm saying in terms of like JRPGs, how you're gonna spend time. And then Kingdom Hearts was always this weird mashup of, for me as an outsider looking in, of wow, it's a JRPG with Disney shit. So who are they playing? You know what I mean? But like Poe, you know, grew up in a Disney household. Like his mom is obsessed with Disney stuff, and so Poe likes Disney. No, of course. What up, Dawn? Poe likes a lot of stuff too from Disney, right? But it's not like he never gave Kingdom Hearts a try. He never like looked at it. Like it's just confusing.
I mean, see, it's funny because I have so many friends that aren't gamers but love Disney and play Kingdom Hearts.
Wow,
because
really?
of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it has that type of power. So, and again, when you put out games called Kingdom Hearts 358 days over 2 or whatever the hell it's called, it's like you're not doing yourself any favors.
Yeah.
But Kingdom Hearts 3, I think again could be better, but I do think that I hope that they have a good jump on point for the story and explaining things. And I mean, who the fuck are we kidding? They're not. But it doesn't matter. I do think that like there will be people that just see Toy Story and they're like, you know what? I don't know what this is, but it looks cool and I want to play it.
And then do you think it'll get delayed?
Yes, I definitely think it'll get delayed. When do I think it's coming out? I just said this in the morning show, but I feel like their goal is March 2018.
Oh, wow.
Just going off previous Kingdom Hearts release schedules. That's not going to happen. And I think that then it would get pushed back to them not really putting a timeline on it, but it maybe being like later 2018, which is why right now it's just having a year. Maybe they can do it without officially delaying it, you know?
Yeah.
But then I feel like March 2019 is the realistic time to look at.
Okay. Now, like I said, this trailer goes out. People start talking about this, but at D23 apparently Nomura giving out interviews left and right, all sorts, IGN, Kotaku, GameSpot, all your usual suspects are there. I believe there was a roundtable. I think some people might have gotten different stuff, but a million breakouts are there. So I want to jump around. All right, GameSpot had one up and pointing out the fact that it's been 12 years since Kingdom Hearts 2 and basically what took so long. I'm going to go into a long, lengthy story here, a yarn, if you will, from Nomura himself. A lot of people have been mentioning and making it sound like, oh, Nomura's taking too much time. And it hurts, Nomura said through a translator. He explained that the decision was made above his head to switch development to Unreal Engine 4 after about a year of development, which caused extensive delays. In addition, certain timing and resources challenged within Square Enix had an effect. Quote, there was a decision made to change to an external engine, Unreal 4, he said. So we switched over to that. Unfortunately, there was a bit of time we needed to be rewinded and started over. So there was a bit of a setback there, but it was a decision that the company had to make, so it was inevitable. Continuing on the quote, we had a plan of the period that it's going to take us up to create the content at the start of the project, and we laid out after such and such years we would need to add more personnel resources. It's translated.
Yeah.
We had submitted it to our headquarters and it had been and it approved, but internal personnel is very limited and there are various different projects that happen within our company. So unfortunately, timing did not work out. So we had to make do with the timing that was appropriate for the company. The company makes the decision, so unfortunately, sometimes it's out of my control. And this goes on very clearly of him being like, it's Square, not me. I have been painted. I have been destroyed in the press, and it's all Square Enix. What a frustrating situation for this poor guy.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to, because you don't know the facts. You don't know
it's one side of the story, right?
It is one side of the story, and it's hard for me to really feel bad being a fan for so long. Of hearing you say this when it's like, okay, but you're involved with the Final Fantasy VII remake, and you're like, there are other projects, but you are doing those projects.
Yeah.
Is he being forced to do those projects? I don't think so. And I think that's where I kind of am like, this is fishy to me, because he obviously cares so much about the Kingdom Hearts franchise, and Final Fantasy VII is so important to him. So it's like, I can see it being hard for him to make a decision and just commit to one project over the other. But the fact that both of those projects are in the states that they are, I don't feel like this says much, Okay. But at the same time, like, I'm sure it is.
Do you
true.
find it interesting at all, though, that he is like basically, going Square's problem, Square's the issue?
I mean, I just feel like that's such an empty thing to say. Like,
sure.
It is Square's problem, because Square's the one making the game,
right?
But you are the one directing the game,
right?
Like,
I just find it interesting from a personnel level of, hey, I'm gonna say the company did this to me, you know what I mean, rather than take it on the chin or try to dress it up away. And granted, there's translation, so maybe they're it's more eloquent that way.
That gets hard. But him even talking about the personnel, I'm just being like, yeah, we had this plan, we're gonna need all this stuff, and it's like, all right, cool. Well, then we got to make sure that plan happens.
Yeah.
The personnel being moved on to other projects, it's like, well, then why did you put a trailer out for Kingdom Hearts 3 in 2013?
Great
like
question.
That you're not ready for that. Like, again, I've said this so many times. I am totally okay with people announcing a game and just being like, hey, man, this game's coming out in 5 years. Like, we're just going to slowly give you marketing for it and just like keep the hype going for it. Yeah. But like, let it be known it's 5 years. They don't do that. They just keep putting out trailers now in development, and they keep saying, stay tuned for winter. We'll have more information. And then winter comes and it's like, oh, well, the information's delayed. And it's like, no, there's certain things that I buy, and there's certain things that I'm just like, all right, you at this point, you're just making excuses.
Yeah.
Okay. And I get it. I understand. I feel for him. I know that there's no one that wants this project out more than him. I know how that feels. You know, like, I understand that he must be so frustrated not having the team and support that he needs to put the project out the way he wants. All that Unreal Engine shit, that sucks. Having a vision for how you want to make your game, and then other people telling you, no, you have to use this other engine. Yeah. And now the engine seems to be a huge problem, because it's like their faces all look like plastic toys and shit, which looks really good in Toy Story.
Of course.
Does not look that good in a lot of the other stuff. It's problematic, but that's video games. Like, it's a complicated thing, and you see so many different developers have problems with games, but why is Kingdom Hearts always like this?
Great question.
Why are Square games always like this?
Great
the bigger
question.
ones.
What is happening over there? What is happening with Square Enix? What kind of company would hire two very attractive men to announce a release date and then delay the release date? They made it very clear it wasn't going to happen again, and then they did it.
And they did.
But call us about Kingdom Hearts. I had this one in here. Do you care that there's Gummi Ships confirmed for Kingdom Hearts?
That's a big deal.
Is it a big deal?
Yeah, I hope it plays better, because like, that was the thing. I loved the Gummi Ships back in the day.
Yeah.
But it was such a dumb little broken system, but it was like, it's kind of like Star Fox, so it's fun.
Yeah, along with New Magic or whatever, they're confirming Gummi Ships. We can confirm. This is Nomura talking to IGN now. We're going to get into a bunch of IGN stuff. We can confirm that we do have Gummi Ships in Kingdom Hearts 3, because it is a numbered Kingdom Hearts title.
Hell yeah.
I'm not sure who was there, but due to the nerdiness of the questions, it really strikes me as Dornbush must have been there for IGN. You think so? Oh no, he wasn't. He was here.
He was at home base.
There was like, IGN has all these little breakouts on different stuff. Now some of them about the Switch, obviously that's more interesting.
I think it was Terry Schwartz, actually.
Okay, she's a big Kingdom Hearts nerd too. Then. Or someone just told her to ask about
Gummi Ships they're not that nerdy.
Okay. Still at IGN, they asked him about Switch. Nomura says, quote, the Nintendo Switch is definitely a very interesting piece of hardware. But if we lightly say, oh yeah, we'll be on the Nintendo Switch, I'm sure people will come back and say, but what about the PS4 and Xbox One? We want them out first. Don't focus on other platforms, Nomura told IGN. So, for now, we want to focus on what platforms we've already announced we're going to be releasing Kingdom Hearts 3 on. And so after, perhaps, maybe, we can start thinking about other possibilities. And so after, perhaps, maybe, we can start thinking about other possibilities. Good answer. Stick to what's out there.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about Switch. Yeah.
Again, it's so convoluted. You look at the Kingdom Hearts franchise, and it's like how many different consoles, both handheld and home,
PSP, what
has
up?
this franchise touched in such different ways? Some important, some not.
Show me on the controller where it
And then it's like, all right, cool. Kingdom Hearts 3 is happening on Xbox One and PS4, but we're gonna do the collection of all the other games only on PlayStation. And it's like, what? I don't get it. I don't understand the methodology behind all of this.
You can't understand Square.
No,
They move like
don't
crazy.
ever try.
And then the final bullet point I want to call it is that there's an additional playable character this time around. There's another quote in Murad IGN. So it would be tough to introduce multiple playable characters, but there is an intention of adding a playable character aside from Sora. Unfortunately, we're not able to disclose who it is yet, but there will be another playable character.
If it's Kyrie, Alexa Ray is gonna kill somebody. But
In a good way or bad way?
Bad way.
Okay.
Bad way.
Yeah.
But
Who do you think it's going to be?
Riku. I think Riku's the easy answer.
What about Mickey?
No,
Everyone wants to be
not
Mickey.
a chance.
What
No,
about
Mickey's
Woody?
the, cool ass character. Woody, he's a NPC. Fights with you.
Okay. Do you care? Is that a big deal? You're the Kingdom Hearts guy.
Nah, I mean, whatever. Cool. I don't really care who I'm playing as. I guess at the end of the day, I'd rather be Sora than anyone else, just because that's what the numbered Kingdom Hearts games are for.
Yeah.
And in 2, there was a whole riding situation.
Oh,
Which was
the old bait and switch.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
First 5 hours of Kingdom Hearts 2 are torture, Greg.
Okay.
They're torture.
Who you playing as there, Goofy?
No, you were Roxas.
See, I don't know these Disney characters.
Yeah, not Disney characters.
I know.
It's just a disaster.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to break your
Yeah,
heart.
no, it's okay.
So let's move on then. Or unless there's anything else you have to say about Kingdom Hearts. And
No,
the news
I
you
mean,
got
I'm
this week.
excited that people are still very, very, very excited for it, and that it's coming out eventually, and
Yeah.
that we're finally beginning that push towards the inevitable.
For a deep dive, of course, on Kingdom Hearts, as I've mentioned a few times on this.
Dream drop distance.
Oh, Jesus God. There's a Gamescast up over on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. That's you, Alexa, and Dornbush nerding out for quite a while about it. Number 2, the final story on the Roper Report. This one comes from the internet. I'm going to read some of Kotaku's piece, but basically we have more details on the Atari Box.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see this thing? Remember?
It's looking pretty sleek.
I want to say in the first week of Kind of Funny Games Daily, we had it in there of like, hey, Atari's teasing a new console, but clearly it can't be a real console. They're just going to be doing something NES Classic style, right? They put out a release today, and there's a bunch of images and really shitty text. So from the images, there's 4 USB ports, an HDMI port, an SD card slot reader, and a place to plug in your network cable. It's ribbed black plastic, a callback to the old Atari stuff, and there's 2 versions, one with the wood front and one with black glass. Now we're going to jump into Mike Fahey's Kotaku article because he sums up a lot of the frustration. From the email that went out to Atari Box mailing list subscribers this morning, Atari Box, all one word. Here's the quote from the thing. As you can guess, those ports suggest modern internal specs. It also means that while we will be delivering classic gaming content, we will also be delivering current gaming content. So we have a box that can play classic gaming content. Since there's no cartridge port, that suggests emulation. Perhaps this is Atari's take on the wildly popular NES Classic. But then the mailing also says, quote, current gaming content, end quote. It's a box that does emulation of some sort, runs some current games, and allows for SD card expansion. That sounds like a set-top Android console to me, a Shield, a Ouya, whatever that Mad Catz one was. Again from the mailing. We know you are hungry for more details on specs, games, features, pricing, timing, etc., but etc., period. We are not teasing you intentionally. We want to get this right, so we've opted to share things step by step as we bring Atari Box to life, and to listen closely to the Atari community feedback as we do so. Then back to Mike. Unless they have no real idea what the Atari Box will do either, they're teasing us intentionally. We'll have more on whatever it is when they decide to stop. What the fuck?
Whatever, man.
What the fuck? Not to mention, I signed up for this stupid mailer and I didn't even get it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, well, I wanted it for the show. I want to be on top of everything. I didn't even see anything this morning.
That's
from 'em.
interesting. Yeah.
Might be my spam, I guess.
It looks really cool, but it should just be what it should be, which is an NES Classic type thing for Atari games.
And
getting it all confused with all the set-top stuff like the Ouya and whatever, it's like, man, I mean, sure, functionality, why not? If it's as easy as putting an SD card in, you're able to play Android games and all that stuff, fine. Otherwise, why?
Since the announcement of this, I was like, he's like, they want to listen to what people want from Atari Box. I just don't want it to exist. Just don't have it exist. We don't need it. If you want to do the NES Classic thing, fine. The whole you're gonna download things SD cards? No, come on now, son.
Yeah,
we don't. This doesn't. No,
that's complicated, convoluted.
And here's my thing: is I'm not even against it because like I just don't want another one. Now I'm just against it now because I don't like the way you've rolled this out. You did a teaser site, fine. Then it should have come in the teaser video, great. It should have just been then. Here's the announcement. Here's all the specs. Here's what you need to know. Instead, you're putting out this thing.
Like, hey, we're not trying to tease you.
Kotaku does a great job tearing you apart because you said nothing. You said nothing. You showed some images in the ports, and that was it.
They said game content many times.
They did say game content.
Yeah, whether it's old game content
delivering
or new
classic
game
gaming content, we will also be delivering current gaming content. What the fuck does that mean? Why are you wasting our time not saying anything? Ugh. Atari. Ugh. You can go to kindoffunny.com/KFGD to be part of the show, just like Eric did. Eric wrote it and said, "Ugh." Nah, that's me still. Hold on. He said, my little nephew just turned 1 last month.
Ooh.
I've already got him playing PlayStation All-Stars on the Vita. He can't really talk other than a few words, mama, dada, uh-oh. But today, as I was babysitting him, I was absolutely shocked when he turned to me and said,
Where's
if I
Crash
want to
Bandicoot?
know what's coming to mom and grop shops and digital download, where would I go? Tim. Now, Danny O'Dwyer memorized this. You got it?
Oh, no, I don't.
You piece of shit.
Go to kindoffunny.com.
You go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily show hosts each and every day. Wow, yeah, okay. That was a good one, too. Kevin's been on fire lately. You know what I mean?
The show's changed since I've been on it.
A lot of things have happened. We bought a soundboard. His name's Kevin.
Great.
he does 2 things. That's all we need from it.
Okay.
It's great. Danny memorized it. I don't think Andrea has, so you're still okay.
Okay.
You're not. If I'm grading on a curve,
Yeah.
you're not doing well, but I got to see what she's doing. You know, she didn't show up to class.
I feel you.
All
I
right?
feel you.
Out today on PC, The Overdreamer and Prisoner. I'll leave it to you to Google whatever the fuck those games are.
Okay.
We also, I was talking earlier about new dates. I like to put in there new announcements, stuff like that. You mentioned it. Marvel Powers United VR. Did you watch any of the stuff for this?
I did watch the thing for it.
I figure we get in here. No release date on it that I saw
Captain
anywhere.
Marvel.
Just come. Yeah, it's Hulk, Rocket Raccoon, Captain Marvel, and there is a 4th player coming. It's Oculus exclusive. Put on the VR units and go through and play multiplayer together. I read an IO9 hands-on report from it. Sounds like what you'd expect. They said they liked it. They said, I think it was a female. She said that it was, she played as Hulk and Captain Marvel, and that they felt dramatically different and stuff. So you can team up with players, and like Hulk can smash people up in the air, and if you coordinate, Rocket can shoot them or stuff like that. But it sounded kind of like what you'd expect it to be, just an empty VR experience where she's like, all we do is run to these levels
and shoot things,
kill everything.
It looks like a bunch of just like every other VR game like that, where it's just you have guns and you shoot, but okay, you don't have guns now. You have hand
cannons or whatever. Yeah, and you beat everybody and you move on to the next area. So will there be more than that? Doesn't sound like it, but who knows? But it sounded like overall it was like a fun, stupid experience. But that's what VR is right now, I guess.
Yep.
And then here's another one for you. I'm pulling this one from IGN as well, I do believe. I didn't credit it, but I'm just going to read this thing. What I'm doing is announcing BlazBlue, Ryan Clements' favorite franchise, BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle.
So I watched the trailer for this.
Right.
And they said the name of the game in it.
Yeah.
And it sounded like BlazBlue?
Yeah.
Like you just don't even pronounce the Z?
I don't know. Colin and I used to just do it to annoy Clements.
Yeah,
It's BlazBlue. We're American. All right, we can see it. Arc System Works has announced BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, a new crossover fighting game that will combine characters from a trio of games developed and or published by Arc System Works, plus the 3D animated series Ruby from Rooster Teeth Productions. The game will feature you from Persona 4 Ultimate Arena, Ragna, the Blood Edge from BlazBlue, Hyde from Under Night in Birth, and Ruby Rose from Rooster Teeth Ruby. Arc System Works promises there are more reveals to come. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle will be available on console in 2018. No further details were specified. For me, they got me in the door with Persona. They used you in the little thing. I was like, oh, what's this thing? And then I was like, oh shit, Ruby Rose.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty big news. Pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of those games. Horrible at them. But I love. I enjoy fighting games. I'm not good at them, but I enjoy them as a concept, and they're fun to play. My favorite ones are the 2D. Like 2D ones that are hand drawn or like sprite based or that type of stuff. I'm not really a big fan of like the Street Fighter 4 or 5 look, right? Like I much prefer Street Fighter 3 and its look.
Sure.
And Arc System Works does a great job of doing that and keeping it going, and they stopped recently, which I was like, oh man, now they're also doing like 2.5D ish looking character models, like with polygons and shit. And to see this, I was like, oh man, like this is how I want it to look. And seeing Ruby, I'm like, this is fucking great. We didn't see gameplay of her, but seeing just the art and hearing Lindsay's voice was like, this is really weird.
Yeah.
Like, this is real.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Just like, oh, our friends who make this thing now are crossed over into a quote unquote real video game.
I mean, it's a real game. Yeah.
All right, good.
Very cool.
You ready to check out the readers?
I am.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you need to be part of this show. Go to kindafunny.com/KFGD. You can make up your own segments. You can ask us questions. You can submit your online moniker so we can get you some friends to play games with. Today, we're starting with Brittany Taylor. Brittany Taylor wrote in and said, what do you think about the negative impact the growing surge of the internet and rumor mills are having consumers' opinions on companies in the game industry? Stick with me, it's going to get clear. For example, Kingdom Hearts literally just received a release year 2 days ago. However, every time a conversation comes up on video game delays, it is one of the first games mentioned, even though it has never been delayed. Also, love the show. You guys are awesome. So what Brittany's asking, I think, is, what about the court of public opinion? How is that affecting games? Kingdom Hearts has never officially been delayed, but we all point to it as a game that's been delayed or been in production forever. And
I mean, I think that goes back to what I was saying earlier. I feel like it's their fault by not saying when to expect it. You know, if they had said 2019 in 2013, that would have had its own share of problems. But at least that's like, all right, cool, this is what we're working towards. I feel like people feel like it's delayed, even though it's not, just because they're not hearing about it, and they feel like they should be based on how the industry works and how games are announced and how they're followed up on.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how society works, right? Whether it's video games or anything,
movies, TV,
when people have an opinion, there's going to be other people with that opinion, and once that starts going, people are, oh, that resonates with me. I agree with that, and then it does turn into this kind of like public idea of what
the truth really is,
and then that's kind of the story. And like, so with Kingdom Hearts, there's going to be every single person, like I'll never be able to tweet about Kingdom Hearts without 10 replies that are like you'll enjoy it when you're 60, and it's like, all right, cool, like that, not constructive at all of what you're saying, you know.
I think when you talk about the court of public opinion, for me, it's just the fact that we all want to be versed in everything we can be versed in, and we all want to be part of the conversation, whether we're really part of it or not. You know what I mean?
It's very true.
And for me, Kingdom Hearts is a good example of that, in terms of, this is a franchise that passed me by and I'm just not interested in it. So other than for the show or whatever, to be knowledgeable enough to have a conversation about it, I'm not really into it. I'm not interested. I'm not going to be one of the people who's tweeting out like, oh, why isn't it making fun of the release date? You know what I mean? I don't know anything about it. But it not today, obviously. I've heard it before, but like, oh, it's never really been delayed. It's never really had a date. That is interesting, because if you would have asked me, I would have said, oh, it must have been at some point, right? But it just hasn't been that way.
Now in development.
And I feel like that's not something that's exclusive to me or us or you, the viewer, who wants to be as briefed on everything. This always plays into my conversation I used to have about season passes. You know what I mean? Where I feel like so many people were against season passes, and I always talk about with Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight's season pass got announced the night before one of the Colin and Greg lives. And I was like, oh man, yeah, totally. I'm in. Batgirl story, great. And then the next day, Colin was railing out on the show or whatever. And my comment to him that I've used in examples before was like, but you were never going to buy this. You were never interested in buying this, right? So it's like, why I am, and I'm sure there's more people like me, but it's also, and I'm not even saying Colin, I'm talking about it at an industry-wide thing. I feel like there's free-to-play gaming, you know what I mean? Pay to win.
Mobile gaming.
Exactly. There's so many things painted with a broad brush that even, mobile gaming is great, right? Like, I don't give mobile gaming the time of day, and so maybe I'll make a crack. I'm more likely to make a crack at PC gaming, right? Which is in jest, but I use it because based on my experience, my limited experience, I've had a bad time with it. Mm-hmm. And based on, people wanting to talk about PC gaming, then I bring that up. And similar season passes. Season passes are dumb, but were you ever going to buy them? And I feel like the people who hate season passes is such a wider audience than the people that were ever interested in that game season pass, if that makes sense. And so it seems like the conversation is blah, blah. This is where I always go back to with, oh my God, Mass Effect 3's ending was so bad. Well, then don't support them, or blah, blah. And people keep buying, keep pre-ordering, keep doing this stuff because we all want to be part of the conversation, and hyperbole rules the roost when it comes to 140 characters. So it is the fact that this is the worst thing anyone's ever done, the worst thing. How could they blah, blah. But then people go and buy and go and play it because not that they are weak-willed, they aren't people of their word, blah, blah. They're taking the throwaway comments you'd make to your friend in a bar, but publishing them out in the internet, which makes it seem more real and more permanent.
No, that's a really good point. I think there's also just a confirmation bias when it comes to all this stuff too, where it's like once you start hearing this, then it's like you look for it, and that's all that you can see.
Right.
So season passes now become this thing where they need to go above and beyond to be so amazing for people to go, oh, this one's not that bad.
Right.
Instead of it being like, oh, this one's actually great.
And I mean, that's another great example of, I think, the fact that, have you heard of this new one? The fact that I say that all the time now. Now I'm going to hear it. I know. Well, I know, but when I find a new tick that I have, a new verbal tick, I knew about the blah, blah, blah. I knew, what's the one I get all the time? Colin used to forget about
the thing that,
well, he's like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what I mean? All right, anyways, there's a new one in the stable. I lost it now.
Yeah.
See, I got so down the rabbit hole that. That's why I can't think about them. You know what I mean? You can't think about them.
You gotta just not
do them.
But no, it's cool to see that people are thinking about this.
Sure.
And that they're, at least that someone is aware that it happens. Because people do just want to be part of the conversation. And I think that they're obviously allowed to, but they should be. Like you should be looking into it, but you should also put on yourself to go deeper and know that for everything that you're talking shit about, someone is a fan of and knows more than you and well actually you. And you just need to be prepared to either stand your ground or give up the fight because you don't care to fight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a great question. Or a great point, I should say. Next up, Jeff wrote into kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, if this generation of consoles, PlayStation 4 / Xbox One, was to end today, what would we remember this generation for? Great question. Maybe even too big for the show, but I figured you were here and it's a taste of what the Gamescast is all about.
Yeah.
I immediately jumped to open worlds, living open worlds, if that makes sense. And but that's not, it's one of those that happened before. That's already happened. I mean, with this.
But when technology, though, still, even if something has happened before, that like shooters existed before last gen, but I'd still say shooters were what defined, not last gen.
But I think, I'm thinking
online shooters.
I think Witcher 3, and I think Horizon, and I think Zelda. You know what I mean? Like, these are the games that are paying off on the interest we had in open worlds in the PS3 360 generation.
Yeah, open worlds, the online. I never remember the name of this thing. Like, what are the games? The Division and stuff. Live world.
Oh, games as services.
Games as services. Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good point too.
That or this is a weird one.
Okay.
But I think the Dark Souls games, Soulsborne stuff, right?
Yeah.
I know that that's a niche thing, but I also think that it really is going to be something that people talk about as this generation was all about. It's a Souls-like,
That's a good point. Yeah, Demon Souls hits, PlayStation 3 does well, does that, starts building, you get Bloodborne. It's another one where you're seeing all the. That's the thing, is it's the payoff on last year's generation hits. Yeah. Things that caught people off guard that people didn't know they wanted.
But I feel like it has to be the open world.
Yeah. Thing. It's bigger and it's better, and here's what you can do in it.
Because when you think about what are the games that are going to define the generation, I think Horizon and Zelda are definitely up there.
Yep. I think Witcher
definitely up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those.
Okay.
Solid answer. Good answer.
Good answer. Good question. Good answers. Steve Harvey. What is this one here now? Hold on. If I were the world power. Let me see. Hold on. All right, this is interesting based on what you said. Ron Barron wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like you can. It says, remember the Tomorrow Children? Do you remember it? This game that was rumored forever, then kind of was going to come out, and they previewed it at E3, and then it went away forever, and then it just suddenly was out one day.
I don't remember this.
Don't worry about it. It doesn't really matter. I just found out today it's being discontinued on August 1st. It seems like next to none of these free-to-play games with long betas on consoles worked out, except maybe Paragon, he puts in parentheses. Do you think this trend will finally die out for good? So the free-to-play things, and what he's bringing up here, of course, is Tomorrow Children, and then all that stuff that really came out of Sony San Diego, right? Where they had all these like Guns Up, and Guns Up, and then the
Drawn to Death,
the MOBA thing. Well, Drawn to Death they changed at the very last second to be not the last second, but the final thing.
But I mean, like the idea was for it to be
exactly,
like
and then they pivoted away from that. Lawbreakers was the same thing that was going to be free-to-play. They pivoted away from that.
Well, I mean, I think that's the answer to the question, right?
Yeah,
like we're already seeing the pivot away, even for games that started out being that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm not informed enough to understand how big of a hit Paragon is.
Sure.
Because it sounds like we don't care, but there's
People
obviously
who care.
people
Andrea,
who really
when
care.
she's on here, she talks nonstop about it, and she's invested money in that game.
But I
She's
wonder
done
how many people do.
it. Sure.
But at the same time, I'm sure that there's enough because seeing the updates that they're putting into that game, like they're not giving up on it, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like they're in the console space, they haven't nailed it yet, right?
Sure.
And I feel like in the mobile space, they nailed the whale idea, but that's not necessarily a good thing. In a lot of ways, it's a bad thing. So I feel like with the console space, they just didn't. No one, it never clicked where it's like, all right, cool, we got this cash cow that's just gonna keep making an insane amount of money.
Right.
You know,
That's my thing is, I mean, do you think this trend will finally die out for good? No, I think it's going to continue to evolve and change. And I think people are now just hip to the game that they can't run and do it. It is the idea that consoles are a different space and a different beast. And so to come in and be like, no, we're going to put Lawbreakers, I guess, is PC. So let's disqualify for that. Drawn to Death is going to be free to play and all these different things from that Sony San Diego initiative. And they started seeing, you assume, they never really talked about it, what the return on investment was, what the concurrents were, and it wasn't really there. Now, all that said, Marvel Heroes Omega on PlayStation 4 is technically free to play. You can jump in and play every character up until level 10, I think, before you make your choice. And then you have to unlock, and there's in-game currency, blah, blah. All that aside, I know every so often I get re-obsessed with it. I'm re-obsessed with it right now. And this weekend I was playing, and Avengers Tower is littered with Avengers running around and people running all these different characters that are there being played by human beings that are doing stuff. And so what's the balance there? I don't know, but that game is weeks out from launch now. It's not like it's brand new. It is free to play, and then you can jump in and get the characters you want and keep going. So it can work. I just think it's the argument that it doesn't work for every game.
and I think that the further along we get as an industry, the more we're going to just see diversification of not even just genre of game, but style of game, and,
Sure.
and how games are delivered and how games are paid for and enjoyed and played. And we're at a point now where it's just like that will just forever be a thing that exists for the games it needs to. But I think that the like storm of everybody trying to grab
Right.
the lightning is that's
definitely
gone.
come and gone. Yeah, I agree 100% with that, because that is what you saw with motion controls, what you saw with mobile stuff for a while, what you saw with free to play, what you see even with people trying to chase. Oh, can we make something like Dota? Can we make a MOBA game? Like you see it,
And then all the hero shooters.
and you see the whole point of console games can't adapt as quickly as those other genres or other platforms can. So when something does hit with a PC game, we talked about this with Danny last week. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, right? Huge hit right now. What AAA shooter, Battlefield, Call of Duty, whatever, is working on that mode for probably not even next year, because that's not how their cycle works. 2 years from now, and by the time we get there, will it still matter?
Yeah.
Will it be cool that there's a
that was with
Battlefield?
Gallegos on a Gamescast.
Damn it! I thought
That
I
is
gave
live
Danny
today.
credit.
You
Why do we
should
keep
go
Danny
watch
credit? No, yeah, Anthony Gallegos, Gamescast up down. Yeah. Jinx owe me a Coke, you know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Final question for the day comes from Matt, who wrote into kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, to be on Games Daily, and says, when do you think Sony will add PSVR games to PlayStation Plus? It's a great question. I have multiple answers. I think the clear one would be when they eliminate either Vita or PS3. When they drop one of those to bring it back in. And so argument there would be when they eliminate Vita. PS3, there's still so many units out in the wild. So many people are still using them. There's people who are playing it and enjoying it. Why not try to keep that much larger fan base engaged with it and involved with it? But then even saying that, because when will they phase out Vita games? I don't know. Will they ever? Because the argument here is the fact of when you do this, when you add PlayStation VR, is when you're actually pushing PlayStation VR. When you are saying to the audience, we stand 100% behind this. We want everyone playing this. Because right now, Sony is like, hey, we're behind this, but it's only for the super hardcore, people who want to get in, have new tech, and experience our first wobbly steps with this tech. It's not, hey, everyone who owns a PlayStation 4, go buy this.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see if they ever did, just because there isn't that large of an offering on PSVR. And I feel like they need those hardcore people to buy all the games that they're going to buy. So giving them free is not necessarily the best business tactic. But at the same time, once they start seeing a slowdown in sales for PSVR, I mean, they have nothing to lose. than to at least try to entice more people to
Right.
give things more shots. So I don't know. VR games are also so much cheaper than a lot of the other games. Where like I mean, I guess that's not
the thing about it is it would work.
Indies.
It would work the same way it worked for Vita, even though they don't really want it to work that way for Vita, where you do it, and sure, they're cheaper than real games in quotes.
Yeah.
But it's also the fact that they're shorter. Their experiences you play them for less time. So I think the way this could work is the fact that if you let's just say the launch lineup you had for PlayStation VR, which was 30 games or something when they first put it out. Go ahead and correct me. Kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. I'm sure Trevor's counting them all right now. If you took those, that's, it's 15 months there, and that's 15 free games. And the fact of the matter is, if you did that and started trickling them out, you're eventually going to get the consumer to the point of, I see a PlayStation VR unit right there, and I already have 10 free games just sitting there that I've never played before. Man, why not? I have a built-in library before I ever get started.
But that's true, but I think there's a difference when it comes to PSVR games in particular, where they are just experiences, and you don't need to have those experiences over and over and over.
True.
And since most of them are so short, that giving them away and having people just be able to stack them over months, like there isn't much value there. There isn't much reason to get that VR unit and buy games, which I think that they need people to do when there's such a niche piece of hardware.
The other way it could go, and I'm not saying it would, but I could go is the way that, all right, I have a PlayStation VR unit. I bought a million. I bought games at launch, but ever since then, I've seen, the Kind of Funny guys do Special Delivery, and that game didn't look good. And I saw somebody else do Arizona Sunshine, and that didn't look good. I've stopped buying stuff. So now they give you the game, which makes you go, oh, okay, and you dust off the VR unit, you put it back in, and it's not one of the games that isn't great. It's Thumper or whatever, and you're like, wow. This is rad. What else has come out? I already have it out. What else could I go buy? But again, this all comes down to what's happening at PlayStation HQ and how do they want to, do they even want it to be more? Because right now, it's fascinating that PlayStation VR is a positive for them. PlayStation VR is a bullet point, they say, and they laud and they talk in economic times and stuff, and it gets mentioned when Oculus is doing whatever Oculus is doing, and it's always, well, Sony did really well. 1 million units. This is a great thing, and blah blah blah. And it's cheaper. It's not even in stores. You can't find it in stores. Like, that's a great narrative. When are they ready to start calling more attention to it? And that's when maybe it doesn't look as great. When it's like, well, the games aren't reviewing super well. People aren't doing this. Blah blah blah. I don't know. We need to get Sean Layden in here.
I think that the PlayStation Plus is going to have some type of relaunch eventually to compete with the Xbox Game Pass, and I think that that's when this could happen. That's where things might get interesting. There might be some huge change-ups, or there might be nothing. Like maybe PlayStation, like we've been talking about, is kind of just comfortable where they're at. Yeah. And they're just going to ride out what they're doing. We'll see.
Yeah, we will. Time to squad up. This is where one of you writes in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD, giving me your gamer tag, PSN name, whatever it may be. I appreciate it when you guys give out the crazy Switch code. I like the people who give out the crazy names for Discord. Today, though, we're going to be talking to Houston. Houston writes in and says, I just wanted to say thank you. Today, my mother lost the fight to MS, multiple sclerosis. I just want to say how much this podcast and this community means to me for helping me through the hard times over the years. If there are any best friends that need help or someone to talk to, my PSN is XXGoliath XX_. Then he puts in parentheses, please shoot, hey, let us change our names. First time writer, long time listener, beyond. But that was like where he put in his question. It wasn't a question. And then the reason why I was saying this thing, why do you want to be, the squad up? Why do you need friends or anything? He said, just to be there. So if you want to be there for him, or if you need somebody to be there for you, XXGoliath, GOLIATH XX_ on the PS4. Tim?
Yes.
What did we get wrong today?
Not much, Greg.
Okay.
Which is good. A bunch of editorializing and a bunch of...
God damn it with the editorializing!
Guys, stop. But Pology points out a good one here. The Tomorrow Children's servers will be shut down in November, not August, according to his own tweets with Dylan Cuthbert.
Okay, good. Thank you very much,
Servers will close November, and non-maintenance dev features have ended.
Great. Oh, that was it?
That was it. I mean,
okay, great.
There's some other things where someone...
well, you said this, but
someone's like, oh, you don't play as Roxas for 5 hours, you play as them for 2 hours. Felt like 5 hours. And I guess it took me longer.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. Just sometimes the hyperbole... I understand we say correct us, good. But then it is the hyperbole, but then it's back to that question we're talking about. Where some person now thinks in that game it's 5 hours of Roxas.
Here's the problem, though.
Here, lay it on me.
Is that I feel like we get so defensive about this. It's like, we're not wrong, you're wrong about saying we're wrong. You know?
Yeah.
So I tone back my anger at you.
Sure.
Sir. I'm sorry for that. I appreciate you trying to correct us, trying to make this the best show it can be.
Damn right. Thank you all for that. Thank you for watching. If you didn't know, this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we jump into the nerdy news you need to know about in the video game industry and get really fucking deep with it and just put our hands in the mud and do this a lot to it.
That always felt good, you know?
Yeah, the
when
mud.
You get that,
yeah.
Getting some when you're getting real dirty. When
Sure,
you're in the mud and you just.
Did you ever have we had a thing in summer camp called Pig Pen Afternoon or whatever, where they just brought in giant things of dirt and then wet them down, and all the kids ran and played in the mud and stuff. Pig Pen Afternoon. That's not something you did?
No.
Oh, okay, we could do it here.
I'm not even gonna add anything.
If you like the show, please go over to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Subscribe there, like the video, share them with your friends. If you like listening to things, go get us on iTunes, podcast services around the globe. Leave a review. And remember, even if you're one of the folks watching us record it live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, please go to the other services, like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff so other people have a shot at finding the new show. Tim.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure hanging out with you today.
It has been fun.
I got so into it, I didn't get to compliment this ice cream shirt.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is new.
Alfredo Diaz and Jackie Big Plays Butler. They got this for me for my birthday.
Okay.
And I enjoy it.
I tell you all to write into kindoffunny.com/KFGD and do whatever the hell you want. Just like Daniel Adult Man did. It's a great name. Thanks, Kevin. He says he has a new segment called Heads Up from a Best Friend. Daniel, Adult Man, wrote in and said, not a question, more of a shout out. Yonder, the Cloudcatcher Chronicles, comes out on PS4 on Tuesday, July 18th, and looks awesome. It's an adventure game with Harvest Moon elements. It's only $20, and yes, it has a platinum. Support the devs and give it a shot. Love you guys.
Cool.
All right, cool. You want to pimp a game that's coming out tomorrow? Why not? No big deal. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily. And until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.